Scattered around the Earth are pieces of archaeological proof that humans beyond the natural size had existed on the face of the Earth. While some people have shut their ears to this reality, there has been a series of evidence to back up these claims. According to Smart News, many of the 5,000-year-old skeletons measured 5'9" feet or longer, making the Neolithic humans exceptionally tall for that period. The continent of North America takes a huge chunk of these discoveries, which we shall highlight in this video. Miamisburg, Montgomery County, Ohio, 8 feet, 1.5-inch skeleton. For every archaeological finding, one ingredient brought them thus far: curiosity, and that's what led to the opening of the mound at Miamisburg by the Miami Valley residents. They knew that the earthwork wasn't a natural occurrence because of where it was placed. Nature scarcely erects its structures on a perfectly level spot and with no hills close by. There is no known date pointing to the origin of the mound, but the first serious attempt to unearth whatever was underneath happened on July 22, 1869. Reporters had gathered for the unearthing, and what they found left them jaw-dropped. Hamilton's research paper puts it this way: "The body of a man more gigantic than any ever recorded in human history has been found in the Miami Valley in Ohio." The skeleton, it is calculated, must have belonged to a man 8 feet 1.5 inches in height. It was found within a half-mile of Miamisburg in a location that contains many relics of the mound builders. Edward Gebhardt and Edward Kaufman discovered it while they were working in a gravel pit. The bones have been placed on exhibition, and many are the curious sightseers who have passed in wonder before them. This leaves the evidence of a giant race under our noses. And this isn't the end. It would take a little more curiosity and more digging to discover the fascinating world America holds in her womb. But no discovery beats the San Diego Giant. The San Diego Giant, 1895. 8-foot 4-inch mummy. Speculations never cease as regards archaeological discoveries. But this discovery got the worst bite of the cake. According to the reports of contemporary news, the San Diego mummy was discovered in 1895 by unidentified prospectors and had been transported around the country as a traveling exhibit by Frederick San Diego Rawson. This extraordinary mummy, measuring a staggering 8 feet and 4 inches in height, was found in a remote cave on the outskirts of San Diego, California. Its size and mysterious origins sparked intense debate and speculation among experts and the curious public as well. In the shortest time, the San Diego Giant, believed to be a prehistoric California Indian and the tallest giant on record, became a center of interest. New York World wrote on October 6, 1895, "The corpse of the biggest man that ever lived has been dug up near San Diego, California. At all events, there is no satisfactory record in ancient or modern history of any human being nearly so tall. The mummy, for in such a condition the remains were found, is that of a person who must have been about 9 feet high in life." This mind-boggling archaeological remains soon attracted the interest of members of the Smithsonian Museum, who bought it from Frederick Rawson at a price fee of $500. However, about a decade later, as scientific knowledge advanced and more sophisticated dating methods became available, a sample of the skin was tested, and it was discovered to be made of gelatin, which was dismissed as a hoax. The motives behind the fabrication remain unclear. On the flip side, the fact that it took so long to discover the truth, in quotes, and the Smithsonian Institution paying such an amount for it, means that there's more to the story than we know. If you find the subject of giants interesting, you can watch our documentary videos, Forbidden Archaeology, America's Lost Giants. You will find links in the description. Lovelock Cave Giants in Nevada, 1911. Miners excavating the Lovelock Cave in 1911 stumbled upon a treasure trove of artifacts, leading to official excavations in 1912 and 1924. Among the finds were the remains of humans, later named the Lovelock Giants, which measured an astounding 8 to 10 feet in height. Some of them exhibited mummified features, including striking red hair. While scientific explanations suggest environmental factors may have caused the reddish color, local legends claim that giants had once lived in the region, what they described as Site-Ka, red-haired giants. One intriguing piece of evidence that still exists at the site is a massive handprint, visibly etched into a boulder within Lovelock Cave. As with most cases, the Lovelock Giants have long been forgotten. Catalina Island, California, 9-foot, 2-inch skeleton. Now here's another controversial archaeological story from the nooks of California, in a place called Catalina Island, which is home to numerous extra-large skeletons. In 1919, an archaeologist named Ralph Glidden stumbled upon a burial site in the inner part of the island. Among the remains he uncovered was a huge skeleton that exceeded the proportions of an average human. This was his report through the High Foundation of New York, where he worked.
A skeleton of a young girl, evidently of high rank, within a large funeral urn, was surrounded by those of 64 children, and in various parts of the island, more than 3,000 other skeletons were found, practically all the males averaging around 7 feet in height, one being 7 feet 8 inches from the top of his head to the ankle, and another being 9 feet 2 inches tall.
Ralph Glidden exhumed and collected a total of 3,781 skeletons on the Channel Islands between 1919 and 1930. But he wasn't the first to explore the site. A researcher, A.W. Firstinen, had earlier discovered other artifacts like mortar and pestles and arrowheads on Catalina, as well as an 8-foot skeleton. A couple of researchers, Jim and Bill Vieira, had come down to Catalina to inspect Ralph's findings. And truly, there were hundreds of skeletons and skulls, excavations, and artifacts. These discoveries contributed to the island's wonder, making it one of the most remarkable stories about giants in this region. Before this, there was another mysterious discovery in Arkansas. Beaver Lake, Ozark Caves, Arkansas, 1913. In 1913, a nearly 10-foot skeleton accompanied by a collection of massive skulls was found in Ozark Caves. The site was investigated while the filming of Search for the Lost Giants was ongoing. The excavation site, located deep in the heart of Beaver Lake, revealed a burial ground, more like a cave with a 70-foot stone wall at the entrance, which showed signs of ancient humans living there. Professional diver Mike Young dives into the lake for further exploration but doesn't find much to look at. Some researchers speculated that these findings might be evidence of an unknown race of giants that lived in the region in ancient times. But that was it. An excerpt from the article of the New Age magazine, volume 18, 1913, reads,
While the historical features of the Ozarks held our attention, by far the most fascinating discovery was one made by an aged recluse and naturalist who for 10 years had lived in a shelter cave near where we camped. Dad Riggins spent much of his time digging in the ashes which formed the floor of many of these caves. At a depth of more than 3 feet, he found the remains of several giant human skeletons, including an almost perfect skull, which differed in many particulars from a modern specimen. When partly joined, the largest skeleton was almost 10 feet tall. Dad Riggins showed us hieroglyphics covering the Palisades thought to be thousands of years old.
Despite the initial excitement and investigations, the discoveries at Beaver Lake eventually faded from the public eye. The lack of conclusive evidence and the absence of similar findings in subsequent years revealed little significance, as no clues were forthcoming. Lompoc Rancho, California, 1819, 12-foot skeleton. One more event shook California back in the day, and this was the discovery of an alleged 12-foot skeleton at Lompoc Rancho. By this time, California was still a frontier territory under Spanish colonization, and Lompoc Rancho was just a vast tract of land primarily used for ranching. The region was inhabited by the indigenous peoples of California, including the Kumeyaay, Luiseno, and Cahuilla tribes. In 1819, an old lady witnessed soldiers dig up a large skull at Purisima on the Lompoc Rancho. The natives concluded it was a god buried according to their padres' directives. However, the DNA of these bones had not been tested because they were believed to be the remains of a bear. What human would have a skull that large? If human, it could only belong to someone between 10 and 12 feet tall. This article clarifies the original report from 1819, Human Fossils in California, from the Otago Witness.
During the summer of 1862, a respectable old lady, a native of California, who resides not far from the mission of La Purísima in Santa Barbara County, informed us that shortly after she was married, her husband, who was corporal of the soldiers, kept at the mission about 1819, was with his men doing some work about a well near the old mission of the same name, now situated on the rancho called Lompoc, which was destroyed by the great earthquake of 1812, when at San Juan Capistrano was also tumbled down, burying some 15 people in the ruins. In the progress of their labors, they disinterred a human skeleton of immense size, which fact getting wind among the Indians of the mission, they came down in exited crowds to the soldiers and begged them to desist, as the bones were those of whom they considered gods, which, when disturbed, would work ruin and destruction on all the country around. Seeing the trouble going on, the padres came among them and made the soldiers replace the bones from where they were taken and forbade them to be troubled afterward.
Although this seems clear enough, further research and scientific investigation will be needed to understand the ancient civilizations that once thrived in California truly. What do you think of all these discoveries? Do you think there has been a cover-up of information on the subject in recent decades? Subscribe to the channel. And if you are thirsty for more knowledge, just play the video we offer on the left of your screen.